here's what you do. If you want to get vials, come over here to the card section. Hit cards. Top of the screen here. Top of the screen. Liquify cards. You come right up here. You've got two choices here. You can select the cards manually if you want. So you can come in like, okay, let me just select cards. So let's see. I got... I don't want to use... I'm never going to use... what's a bad card? Damn, everything's good. Grand Acquisition. Grand Acquisition. I'm never going to use this card. So what I'm going to do is just toss it up here. And then when you've got all the cards, once you've gone through all your cards that you want, you can go to the top here, go to Liquify. It'll turn them into vials automatically. Max here is 40 cards. Keep that in mind. Or the faster method is... So you can see that I have 3s of every copy of card here, or every copy of the cards that I have. If you go to Liquify cards and you go to extras, it'll take all the cards that you have more than 3 of automatically and just liquefy them here. So you can see that I've got 1 bronze and 1 silver and 3 bronze cards where I have multiple copies of them, more than 3. And so the game will just automatically get rid of them. It'll tell me how many vials I'm going to get. So I get 80 vials. This will be my total right here. Liquify, problem solved. Now, if you want to hit that Sara ni Mukoe, if you want to go beyond that, you go to Liquify, you go to Liquify cards, selected cards. So this is like the big brain stuff. This is what they won't teach you in school. Now, if you have 3 copies of an animated card, or you have multiple copies of an animated card, and you have 3 copies of the card regularly, you technically don't need one or the other, right? So let's say you have 3 focus that are not animated, and you have 2 focus that are animated. Well, you don't need 5 copies of focus. The game differentiates an animated card from a non-animated card. So if you have 3 focus that are not animated, 2 focus that are animated, you can just choose which ones you can choose 2 to vial. If you want to keep your animated focus cards, then you can take 2 of the normal ones and then vial them, no problem. If you want to just burn the animated cards, you don't care if they're animated or not, then you can burn the animated cards. And what's nice about that is you'll get an additional bonus in vials for the animated cards. Let's see if I can find one of mine here. Oh, I have Wolf Rod. Let's see. So I have an animated Wolf Rod. Let's say I don't need Wolf Rod as an animated card. What I can do is I can just take him, throw him up here, and then I can vial him for extra cards. So I'm going to Liquify. It'll give me 2,500 vials. Normally, it would only give me 1,000 for a legendary card, but because it's animated, they'll give me more. I'm absolutely not going to do this, though, because I only have 1 copy of Wolf Rod, and it is animated. Some people don't care, right? If you don't care that you have multiple, or if the card is animated or not, then burn the animateds, no problem. You're going to get a bunch of vials anyway. Like, that's how I get to this right here. Because I don't care much for animated cards. If I get, as long as I have 3 copies of the card, I don't care what they look like. If you want to keep the animateds, you can. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, step 4. Depending on how long you've been in the game, you've probably been through a couple of cycles for the expansions. So if you come up here, or you hit this little button here for the select, or in the select cards, hit this here, you can choose cards from a certain set. So for example, the last 5 sets is what rotation is for. If you're only playing in rotation, then you don't need any cards outside of these 5 sets, which is Fortune's Hand, World Uprooted, Ultimate Coliseum, Verdant Conflict, and Rebirth of Glory. So these are the 5 expansions in rotation right now. So all these cards I want to always keep 3 of in case I have a need to use them. However, if I have cards that are outside of this, like let's say I have cards in, I'm going to just quickly unselect these. If I have cards in Steel Rebellion, I can open this up and I can put those cards, I can see all those cards in Steel Rebellion. And because this is not in rotation anymore, I can just drag these cards and liquefy them because I don't need any of them. And that's what I do. So because I do not play in Unlimited, and again, if you play in Unlimited, this doesn't work. But if you just play rotation like I do, You can take all these cards here, and you can just liquefy them and get a ton of vials. That's, again, how I got to 133,000. Before this expansion came out, I had around 50,000 vials. Now I have more than double that. So yeah, and keep in mind that cards that are temporary cards will always stick around. So because I used the ticket they gave you during the birthday event for a temporary deck, I just have these cards until the temporary cards run out, which... Does anybody know, is there actually a time limit to temporary cards? I don't think there is. At least they haven't announced one anyway. So yeah, I've got all these. I don't need these. I'm not going to play with them because they're not in rotation anymore. Let's see, last bit. Oh yeah, so a couple other things. If you're still trying to get cards, one way to do it is go to the shop, go to buy cards, and you get these things called trade temporary cards. So... You've probably noticed these little gems around the game. A lot of times, if you're just playing outright for missions, every single day you'll have this daily mission to do something and you get like 400 gems. Every single day. These gems can be traded for... Oh, excuse me. Can be traded for temporary cards. And again, I don't know when temporary cards are supposed to go out or supposed to like run out, but I don't think they've announced anything. So you can go to trade temporary cards under shop, buy cards, and if there's a card that you're missing, like a legendary card that you're missing, what you can do is you can trade 3,500 temporary gems for a copy of that card. You technically don't have a copy of that card, but you have a temporary copy of that card, whatever that means. Temporary cards are permanently temporary. Alupade, exactly. That's how they should describe it. So you can see here that I have 8,500. So let's say that I was going through my cards. I said, okay, I want to build a really cool Forest Craft deck. I'm going to click Forest Craft down here. And I said, you know what? I heard that Terraformer is a really good card. I want to run a deck with Terraformer, but I only have 2 copies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to trade here. It'll say, do you want to spin the 35,000 gems? It'll tell you how many you have left, or 3,500 gems. It'll tell you how many you have left. You can trade, and you'll just get a copy of the card. And it will appear as a +1 in your collection. So, whoops, my bad. So if we come back to cards here, all those cards that you saw when I highlighted Steel Rebellion, those are my temporary cards. See how it says +1 here? That means I have 1 temporary card. If I go back to Steel Rebellion, because I bought some temporary cards for this set here, you can see I have 3 temporary copies of Iron Knuckle Nun. I have 1 temporary copy of Byron Full Metal Dragoon. I can't vial them for anything, but if I ever wanted to build a deck with them for whatever reason, I have a copy. Again, I don't know if they are ever planning to make temporary gems run out at some point, but I got these literally like more than 5 months ago, more than 6 months ago. So yeah, they've stuck around for a long ass time. And I mean, just doing the dailies, it's actually pretty easy to make a meta deck and just like run stuff in, or just like get stuff that you need. Maybe focus on like a couple decks that you want to make in the meantime, or like to begin with, and then after that, once you start playing games and like accumulating rupees, gems, or rupees, temporary gems, all that good stuff, you'll be able to expand the collection that you have. So yeah. That's a pretty succinct tutorial. We're clipping that for YouTube too. Holy shit, let me see here. That's 250. So yeah, it's a pretty succinct tutorial as far as getting cards you need and getting rid of cards that you don't need. You are the champ now. It is you. Hold the trophy high. Time for ladder, baby.